Welcome to episode 12 of MF and Block Podcast. This one's going to be fun. There were some things that I wanted to talk to you about. Everybody, this is Maria Carrelli. If you have not heard her music, look her up on Spotify. I hope Spotify sends you checks. Some of your.
Oh yeah, it's a big whopping $60 every 6 months.
Whatever pays the parking meter, right? And everyone should check your stuff out. Actually, the first time that I was aware of who you are and what you do was actually at the Gus's garage. Over at Sean Giles' house, and
right.
It's interesting as you go through life, like just the connections that dots end up making, because like Sean, for example, like I grew up around him, and like we were at parties in high school around the same fires playing guitar, and
that's so cool.
It's weird seeing the evolution of it, but then like without knowing him, like I wouldn't have been in that garage to know who you were. And then like you also know like Mora, who played with Ryan, who was in a band with me, and like it's crazy just how the circle keeps going.
I love that stuff. I love how the people listening who don't know what Gus's garage is, they think that we just met in a garage somewhere, just the dark, creepy.
Over at Gus's.
We just stumbled on each other in a dark garage. What up?
It was a dark, greasy garage.
Ooh, yeah.
So our friend Sean Guile of the Tillers, he has a garage, and his son Augie, apparently the guy who used to own the place was named August, and he has these private little shows in his garage with like maybe 30 people can fit in there.
Yeah, tiny. It's so intimate.
That's slam packed in there with 30 people.
Yeah.
But those shows are awesome. Like Joseph Huber, I got to see that.
Oh my gosh! Right, that one was amazing. Wait, was that the same one that I played? Oh my gosh, my brain.
I think you played the first one. Was it?
Yeah. I think I've seen. I just am probably getting confused because maybe that was the same one that I played. I don't remember, but I've seen Joseph Huber in like a couple intimate settings, and maybe I'm just mixing it up with the other teeny intimate time that I saw.
And to continue to keep connecting dots, he used to be in the 357 string band with my man Jake Orvis, who's in Goddamn Gallows, who's supposed to be on an episode of this. And a lot like yourself, you've had to this year you've had to find other ways to make money outside of music, which we'll definitely get into. But a lot like yourself, like he's doing concrete work right now instead of touring the band or touring the world playing with a kick-ass band.
Yeah, so many of my music friends, actually, that's like so weird that you say that. A lot of them have gotten into construction and kind of more like hands-on work like that, which it's great money and it's great work, and I don't know, it seems to be the musician choice.
Have you had any of your friends that have done that tell you that they kind of like just being a regular person?
Me? I mean, I'm not doing concrete work or like construction.
just a much more like a much more structured schedule than what music offers you.
Yeah, and I know, and I kind of feel it's just weird. It's big. I mean, I guess we're jumping into it right now, but it's just so going from touring. Literally, I was touring every single weekend. Like that was a goal.
When did you stop keeping tally marks of shows that got canceled?
Oh, I don't know.
Like
dude,
20 deep and you're like, I'm done counting.
I had this like sinking feeling. Like when it first started, I was like, this is not, I mean, that's our whole job is to like get a bunch of people in a like pack a place.
Yeah.
Like, and hopefully sell out. And then that's literally
and of course you want the crowd going wild too.
I know. It's not like, oh, can just a few of you come to the show and then it'll be a little more comfortable. No,
Have
it
you played?
was,
Have you played any like social distance shows at all?
yeah, I've done a couple private things, and then of course like the online stuff that I mean, maybe you've seen, but just like little live shows here and there, but a couple private ones,
Well,
which
and I
would,
saw the personalized. So you did this really
oh
cool
yeah,
shit, and it was definitely it was like a per tip basis kind of thing, like hoping people would throw you some money on Venmo. Um,
yeah,
but you did these cool little songs where people would like request a song for like a partner or spouse
yeah, or
or
themselves.
or their animal or
Yeah,
themselves.
there are a lot
Um,
of dogs.
but there was so you had that little series, and did you also do a little series about matches you had on Tinder? uh
that's what's that's what sparked it all. These are the chronicles. I've just coined it right now, but we've got the Tinder chronicles, which kind of started it all off a couple summers ago, or maybe this was last summer. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember. Time in the time of COVID is just like warped.
it's
But
just one big weird stretched out day, that's all.
it feels like that, like some kind of weird, like time doesn't exist. One day we'll step back into that dimension where pre-COVID. But yeah, this was like when I was single and I was like on the apps and everyone. Okay, can I curse? I feel like I was just about to say about.
Absolutely.
Okay, everyone.
Absolutely. I have explicit warnings everywhere on the internet for this.
Okay. Yeah, everyone just like loves to like shit on the like dating apps like in general, but I have to say like I loved them. I
I
mean,
think if you use it for fun, like, because the shit is
yeah,
hilarious.
I know.
It's
And
absolutely.
not to like diminish anyone's experience with it, because I think if you were looking like really seriously and like that's all you like wanted in life was to find the you know what I mean, like the soulmate of your dream, like then that would be pretty crushing to have each person that you thought was going to be your soulmate ghost you. You know what I mean, like, but anyway, it was, so I decided to have some fun with it and just wrote like little songs. And honestly, I was just gonna write them to the guys and not even like post them or anything. And it was like
was
match,
there was one of the guys like holding a fish in his fucking picture? I feel
like
like
that.
there was a
That's
dude
like
who like
every guy.
I was like,
That's
God
every
damn it.
guy. They're all holding fish. I think I even successfully, I don't know how I did that, but successfully avoided all the fish guys.
So
Not
you
nothing against fishing, but
are you single now for all the listeners?
I'm not. I'm.
That's sad. That's sad because I was looking forward to more songs.
I know. I've literally. Well, yeah. I'm seeing someone right now. It's yeah, and I've like even asked him. I've been like, "What do you think if I like? Would you mind if I like?" Because I actually have a whole. This
Like do it
is
just for content.
yeah. Well, no one actually knows this. Maybe this is a good like place to drop this little Easter egg in this podcast. But I actually have a whole series of unreleased Tinder chronicles. It's like a whole other. It's like part 3 or something.
Oh,
And
tell
I
me you're
literally,
gonna drop. Tell me you're gonna drop that on SoundCloud or something.
yeah, I feel like I'm gonna. I've thought about that during the Corona like lockdown and everything. I was like, man, I should really string those together and edit that and like just get it up for like laughs. I don't know. It was
That would
fun
be
for
good
me.
shit. Everyone likes a good comedy record.
Yeah, dude. Maybe that's like my new bit is like I go around and tour and like, and the people who are coming to the shows, I'll put it in like a mile radius, like show night.
You'd be like a comedian that eats off the crowd kind of thing. Like
That's literally
Andrew.
what.
Do you know? Are you aware of Andrew Scholes?
No,
Oh,
uh-oh.
you got to look him up. The
Okay.
dude's cool. I've seen him live a couple times, but it's cool because he gets into conversations with people in the crowd. Like just
Yeah.
to preface that a little bit, like when you go to his shows, when you sit down, somebody from the comedy club will talk to you and be like, "Yo, like you can't have your phone out at all. Like if you're not paying attention to the show, if you record the show or take pictures, you're gonna get kicked the fuck out." Because he's
Whoa.
got his own social media people there that get footage of everything. But
Oh.
but if you're talking, because the whole thing is crowd interaction with the comedian, and he's having
Yeah.
conversations with individuals or a whole group at a table, and if you're talking, you'll get kicked the fuck out. But it's but
That's a
that's
that's such a good idea.
it's
Sorry.
I love it. Like he wants you to enjoy his show, and everything's off the top of his head because he's just improvising with the crowd. Like
Yeah.
the dude's just funny and can think of shit like immediately. But you
I
got to check
love
him
that
out.
stuff. Okay,
But
I
that's
feel
kind
like
of the same idea, like
I
playing songs.
know.
Like I like it. I like it.
Well, and here's the thing that maybe not everyone knows, but those literally are off the dome. Like, if they didn't come to me within like 10 seconds, I was like, no. If it's not coming to me, then it's gone. Like, I would actually like have like it'd be funny pictures of dudes that look like whack, but I was like, but but I'd be like, no, it's just not coming to me. It was like if it wasn't fresh, then it like wasn't if it wasn't just like super quick. But
Yeah.
I think I'm too like I definitely have like stage fright and anxiety. Like even before this like podcast, I was like getting nervous. I mean, and it's
Well,
something
what's
about
funny about that is that's something like every time I performed, I was always nervous for sure, and then
yeah.
uh, especially, I mean, playing in some of the venues I played in, like a lot of people can get in there. Like, like there's a lot.
Yeah.
Like I don't want people to judge me.
I
You know what I
know.
mean? But like it was weird for me because it never really went away. Like if I had to
Yeah.
perform today, like
Oh.
I'd feel weird for
Oh my
sure.
gosh, thank you. It's never gone away from me. I've literally played so many shows, like hundreds and
If
hundreds.
you're not getting even the little bit nervous to where you're like, oh, I need a beer before I go on or something.
Yeah,
If you're not feeling at least something, it's not exciting for you anymore. Like
that's true.
if it feels like if it just feels
Yeah,
like you're not playing for anyone at all, uh,
yeah.
that's got to be a shitty feeling, I would imagine.
I think I'm in a good spot where it's like in between like puking because of nervousness. I'm not doing that. And like just like so bored that I'm like an asshole or something, like
But no,
so
what's
it's
crazy
like
too with you being with you getting nervous though, like when I've seen you perform live, and I've obviously watched your stuff on social media during COVID with any kind of live performances you've done, like
yeah.
you nail it every time.
Thank
It's
you.
just crazy because well, and it's awesome because like I mean the mutual circle of musician friends that you and I both have,
Yeah.
like Tim, Arlo McKinley,
Yeah.
he fucking destroys it every time. The
Oh,
Tillers,
so good.
I've never heard anyone in the Tillers hit a note that was wrong. Like,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
which actually
Oh, it's so neat.
when I was talking, I had a conversation with Joseph Huber about the 357 string band. Um, and I was like, so like what made you like go kind of do your own thing? And he was like, well, the Tillers broke up 357 string band because
What?
they were just having so much fun and it felt like a job to us, and like we all just
Oh,
split up because it wasn't fun anymore.
oh my gosh.
I'm like,
When you said
wow.
when you said that he said the Tillers broke up, I was like, where's this going? But
Yeah, yeah.
that makes a lot of
And Jake told me that too. Jake had told because I saw the goddamn Gallows at Southgate House, and
yeah.
I was hanging out with them outside, and I asked him about the 357 string band. I was like, man, Joe told me that this happened. Is that true? And he's like, fuck yeah, it's true, man. They were having so much goddamn fun and they never fuck up. Like, jeez. And that was years ago. That was when like the Tillers weren't even close to how tight they are now. So it was like,
Yeah.
I was like,
That's
fuck, if you
so
thought they were tight then, like you should go see them now because
oh
they're
gosh.
just a steam engine now. Like
Yeah,
that's
with like the addition of Joe to like Joe Maturette,
mhm.
the fiddle. They're so good.
Well, first off, I like him a lot.
He's great.
I love talking to him. Also, I'm gonna have him on the podcast too. We were talking about that.
You
But
should. I was gonna say,
man,
I feel like you guys would really like vibe really well.
like well, we've talked quite a bit, especially at their shows
Okay.
and stuff,
Yeah.
and he stopped by the house once, I believe. But
Oh.
man, he's like the prince. He's like the prince of fucking folk music. Like what instrument can he not fucking pick up and
I
absolutely
know.
destroy? Absolutely fucking destroy it.
Dude, I would just love that you described him like that. Like, that's 100% him. The prince
and
of
definitely
the
and
prince of folk.
not necessarily the songwriter side of Prince, but definitely the musician side of Prince.
Oh,
Like
for some, okay, Patrick. For some reason, I literally didn't associate that with like like Prince, like the like
yeah.
the musician. I literally thought that you were just calling him a prince of folk
Either way.
That's actually was so wonderful though to like think of it like he's a prince.
But he was a great addition, and
Yeah. They're so good. They are so good. They may like there have been so many times in my music career, and it just happens with everyone. It's like, I mean, I've played out since I was like before I could drink in bars, and I'm 28 now, so it was like, you know, almost a decade of playing out. And it's just, I think about this so much about like the vibe and like the hang of the musicians that you're playing with, because I mean, you know, not to get too hippy dippy, but it's like just the vibe, like the vibrations of everyone's like
you're not wrong
mood.
at all. You're not wrong at all.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like the Small Time Crooks, we opened for Kid Cudi when Day and Night was like #1 hit in the world. And,
Wow, that's amazing.
so
I
we
didn't even
got
know
to,
that.
yeah, so we got to it was cool because we got to, I mean, we got to meet the dude, and it was
Yeah.
like he was big, but like not where he was about to be. Like it was when Day and Night was like definitely there, but he hadn't received the accolades of it yet, you know.
Yeah.
And
Huh.
but like he's his one request, like for his backstage, was just a case of Grey Goose. That's all he wanted. Like he didn't want anyone, like he didn't want any food. Oh, and water. He had a bunch of water and a case of Grey Goose.
Oh my god.
Before he took the stage, he downed 2 bottles of Goose by himself.
2 whole bottles? Like how
Fuck
big?
yeah, he did. Fuck yeah, he did. Like fists, 2 fists.
No, he did not.
15.
That is too much alcohol.
And
Oh my
and of
gosh,
course
dude.
he was smoking a bunch too. But like
Shoo.
that show was crazy for me because the promoter, I'm not gonna name names, but he's a piece of shit. And
Get
but this is what happened. This was in that time. This was in the middle of that transition of like promoting the show, and then the promoters making you sell pre-sales because promoters don't want to do their jobs anymore.
Yeah. I remember when I was like, oh, I don't know. I just remember doing a couple of those. I was like, no.
Like he asked me and a couple other people in the band. He was like, "Yo, can you sell pre-sales for Kid Cudi?" And I was like, "Dude, he literally has the #1 song across the country.
Yeah.
No, like it's gonna sell out." And I was like, "Kids are gonna buy tickets out front for $250. Some kid bought a ticket directly in front of me. I went out front to smoke and just like, because with the
Yeah.
Small Time Crooks, it was cool because like I was just the producer. Like I wasn't a face of the group, so like I could go out and mingle and no one knew who the fuck I was. So like
Okay.
so I would just like stand out front of venues and just listen to people. And it was weird because I would hear people talk about Small Time Crooks and they were like, "Man, it's weird because it's like punk and rock, but like real hip hop, and like you just
That's
don't get
awesome.
that." And it was cool to hear, but like literally fucking like 4 feet in front of me, I watched a kid buy a ticket for $300 to go in and watch Small Time Crooks and Kid Cudi. And I was like,
Damn. That's
wow.
great.
And then I went on to win a Cincinnati Entertainment Award, and I live on the west side of Cincinnati now. So you know, cheers to music.
Well, I live in northern Kentucky, so
The rolling
that's amazing.
hills, Call it the rolling hills of northern Kentucky.
Ah, yes. The rolling hills right next to the rolling waves of the great Ohio.
I call it the Ohio Ocean.
Oh, nice. I like
So
it.
what have you been doing like as far as like the like income? How are you rolling in income during not being able to do anything?
I know. Well, I have gotten a job right now for the time being, and it is out in Batavia actually. So it's kind of a
Way
drive,
out
and
there.
it's like a 9 to 5, like just
Oh wow.
doing. I know, doing some quality. I'm a quality specialist at a packaging plant out there, and it's really nice to like have some stable income and be able to save up a little right now,
Yeah.
because I mean, I'll tell you, so musician and server, like that's what I was doing, was those two things, and those are the two things that got literally blown out of the water with
Yeah.
by COVID. So I think when big giant things happen, like in life, I don't even witness myself processing stuff, but I think I internalized that anxiety of truly not having anything, and then was like, oh, I gotta like make some money right now, or just like be stable, because I think that's really important to me in life. And it's been interesting. It's not like a dream job right now or anything, but it's nice to kind of like have some. And if I ever wanted to if I want to put out an album here soon, I could fund it with the money that I'm making, which is something that I've never been able to experience before.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
as musicians, we're just crowdfunding our entire like
Your whole
discography.
your whole
Yeah,
existence.
seriously. And it's like, this is like not this is not it's not set up for an easy, not saying that any life is easy, but just like it's a really rough time. Like, always, it just feels like you're like always like just grinding, and like
No
having to.
musician, like there are no, and I wish people would understand this more, and it's mainly because
Yeah,
people just aren't more familiar with more musicians or groups or artists. No one musically is an overnight success. None of them. None of them.
yeah. Well, also, no musician is.
Except for maybe Menudo. But like outside of Menudo.
Yeah, it's just interesting, like being that, wearing all those different hats. Like, I I'm just not a very good like sales person. I'm not a very good salesman woman, and so
Well,
it's
you
like,
you wouldn't want to lie to people though, and that's part of selling. Like I
yeah,
sell well I do pours of I work at the airport and sell pours of whiskey and I also sell bottles of bourbon as well.
oh,
Uh
nice.
and for me, like I've found a nice transition into it, but it's just because I'm good at talking to people. But
Yeah,
I can let you down in the softest way instead of lying to you. Like I'm like,
like,
come here and give me a hug. I don't have what you're looking for, but look at this right here. You know what
oh,
I
like
mean?
that's like an example
Yeah.
would be like if you didn't have the bourbon that they're looking for or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, yeah. Like I let them down gently.
Oh, that's so nice. I mean, that's a really valuable thing, because
Like
it's like,
I could probably sell a lot more shit if I could lie to people. And
yeah,
I don't want to sell you a shitty bottle because the way I look at it is this is an international airport. There's a good chance you could always come back through here at any point in time. And if
yeah,
I told you to buy something just because I wanted to sell you a high dollar bottle, you're going to be pissed at me if you drink that and don't like it. Like, and I don't want to do that to
yeah.
anybody.
Okay, wait. So you sell, it's beer and bourbon?
Just bourbon. Like
Okay.
so we do like I serve bourbon just like straight pours, just neat.
Yeah.
But I
Ooh.
do like I've got a couple scotches, and we try to keep the peach crown, the
Oh.
crown. We try to keep the Crown Royal peach on deck because everybody loves it. But
Oh yeah.
we've got bottles of bourbon from like the early '60s.
Wow.
We've got like the high end shit that's coming out now that nobody can even get.
Yeah.
We've got like our own single barrel picks that we have open for tasting.
Ooh.
And,
Do you guys have any second sights?
um,
Second sight
I
spirits.
think we have, because don't they have a gin? Don't they do a
They,
gin?
they do. Oh, maybe they do. I think
Because they have a
maybe
they have a couple clears.
they
I
do.
think they have a vodka and a gin, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I haven't drank their liquor in a while, but I know that initially when they started out, at least they had like rum and a really good bourbon.
I
It
know
was
the rum I have had. The rum I
yeah
did have.
yeah the
Because
bourbon's good too. Oh,
they're right there in Ludlow, right?
they're I could literally like throw a tennis ball and
Oh
hit.
shit, are you on the strip right through Ludlow?
Yeah,
So I check this out.
it's
So like and I've been going that way for a while, but like
oh yeah.
when I go to the airport, sometimes I take the ferry because it's real quick from Delhi.
Okay, yeah,
But if not, I'll go down, cross the river, and then I
yeah,
just slide through
just
Ludlow
right
to
in
go
there.
back up, like the back way up around to like Hebron and the
That
airport.
insane road. That road is insane. I feel like
Mhm.
every time I'm on that road, I'm like white knuckling it, and I'm a good driver, but I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Oh, the narrow one with no lines. That one.
Yeah, where it's like like half of it's like crumbling off the side into the Ohio Ocean.
It makes you feel safe about the bridges that cross that river,
Yeah, it's true.
So, have you been writing? You've been writing this whole time too, I'm assuming.
Well, that
Or are you
I've been
taking a break to live that normal life and have coffee?
and have coffee. I didn't have coffee before, but let me tell you, it tastes great.
I
No,
can't stop drinking it now.
yeah, I've been writing a little bit. Not as much as I would like to. Like throughout like the big crazy lockdown, I did that huge push of like little songs for everyone, and to be honest, it was so much fun. And then it like got to be like so much, and then I feel like I like needed a little break for a second. But I have enough songs now for like another album and a half, and it's just a matter of time before I can get the I even have like arrangements and stuff in my head, and I've been like kind of slowly like building this album. But it's like I'm not gonna tour anytime soon, or I don't know for the foreseeable future, at least for the next year. And if I do, it'd just be like tiny things out and about. And so, yeah, I think it'd be a good time to just kind of focus on getting those songs that are in my head recorded. Maybe like singles through like Spotify and stuff like that.
EPs are where it's at, and I wish more
Yeah.
people would do like. And it's cool because like I grew up playing punk rock. That's where I really learned how to play music, was being in punk bands,
Yeah.
uh, and we put out EPs all the time, like 5, 6 song EPs. Like we didn't put out
Yeah.
like an album. Who wants to listen to fucking 12 songs? You know what
Man,
I mean?
I know it's so true. And punk songs are always so short. I bet that those albums were
Oh yeah,
like
you could do
5 minutes.
like, well, like we had like there was actually, you know what, the first record that I did with Small Time Crooks, we didn't have a single song over 3 minutes, and that's a hip hop group.
Dang. I actually love that. I am a sucker for short and sweet.
Well,
Just like,
you leave them wanting more. You have to leave them wanting
yeah.
more. Like,
Oh,
and I
yes.
hate. Well, and here's one thing in just song structure, like songs that start off with a hook and go into a verse and then a hook and then a verse and then some kind of bridge and then back into a hook.
Yeah.
It's too much, guys. Like, cut off that
Yeah.
last fucking hook. I don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't fucking need it. I don't even need the
Oh.
bridge. You could literally end on an offbeat at the end of that verse, that last verse, and I'm good. Like, you stop making it
Yeah.
so fucking cute. You know
Oh
what
my
I
gosh.
mean?
I just love thinking about this stuff. And I am by no means like I don't even see myself as like I don't know, not to be self-deprecating, but I just like don't see myself as like a good writer, but I like doing it, and that's all I care about. But I also just I just like love pop. I love pop songs. I love like listening to like what is that thing that makes people like it, you know? And in
Yeah.
like like the older that I get, the more I'm like I feel myself just being in tune with that, like just like let yourself like the thing that sounds good, like you know,
Right.
like I grew up on like punk and stuff too, and like I just was like, oh, if it's not this, it's like,
Oh, I
or
used to
you know,
hate pop music.
oh
100%.
yeah,
Like I was like fucking punk or bust, dude.
yeah, well that's like the attitude, because it
And like
and
now I go back and I'm like, you know what? The fucking Counting Crows are really good. They're really
dude,
fucking good.
the Counting Crows gave me a shout gave me a shout out. I
Oh, I
like,
saw that. I remember
did
seeing
you?
that. Yeah.
I was so excited. I was like, my career has peaked. And it wasn't even a good cover of their song. I like fucking botched it. It was so, I was gnarly, but they liked it. I was like, okay, it's fine.
Like going back and listening to them and like how great of songwriters they were,
Yeah. Oh,
and what's crazy too is like going back and listening to a lot of their shit, like that was just raw talent. That wasn't production that made them sound the way that they sounded. Like that was just them.
yeah. Like how,
And
yeah. How do you write a
like
song like that?
I don't so I might get some haters on this one.
Uh-oh, you might get me as a hater.
So
Just kidding.
one of my guilty pleasures, like I like to watch live performances of the Dave Matthews Band, but I I hate every one of his studio albums. Like I think his
Oh,
studio albums are awful. But
wow.
it's the jam band thing that he has when he's live. Like that's
Okay.
like when they all go and they show, like when they flex their fucking their music muscle. I'm just
You like that?
like every one of you guys are the most talented person that this dude could find to play around him. Like,
Yeah. That's pretty dope when you can see that. I do appreciate that. I
and I
want
go
to know
back
your
and listen to things like it's like I go back like man, I wish I listened to Soul Asylum back in the 90s because that band is fucking ridiculous. Like their records were really really good, and they were really like
Yeah.
they got big, and I know they had some songs on some soundtracks and whatnot, but like you just look at some bands that get big. Like, how does Ricky Martin blow the fuck up? I get it. He's cute. He can dance. Blah blah blah. But like,
I don't
how does
know.
something like that blow up? And then you have like Soul
I
Asylum.
don't
Like
know.
maybe it's the drugs and alcohol. You know,
I think, I
maybe
mean,
that's what it is.
I think about this stuff too, and I honestly think I think a big part of it is like who can handle that too. Like
Or
literally, like,
did they have the most money behind them? Yeah.
well, it's absolutely that. But it's like even before that happens, I feel like it's like, okay, so like these like rich white dudes have all this money and they're like, all right, how can we make more money with this by putting it behind this pretty man? You know, like this man who's really good looking. But it also I think has to be like the person
See,
has to
MTV flipped that theory on its head though, because they paid Carson Daly for a really long time.
well, I don't know. I think part of it is like
Carson
think
Daly
about
looked like he had an eternal hangover. Like he looked like he was hungover all the time.
okay. Well, he's just Carson Daly's the outlier. but like okay, could you be in Ricky Martin's like shoes and like literally get recognized every single time you like go to the store or
Oh, you
like
can't go.
literally
Yeah, you can't do anything. You can't go
like
anywhere.
I've thought about this. I'm like, I don't like. I like think there was a time when I would have liked that, but then I'm like, oh wait, like I'm exhausted. Like I'm
So,
exhausted even
so
just.
you're not 100% in on selling your soul to the devil yet, right? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it would take someone who, like, I don't know. I look at like Cardi B, and she just like loves that shit, you know. And it's like I think
Well,
that,
she's not, because she was a stripper. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
and she's she's who she's always been. Like she hasn't
that's
changed.
true.
Like for instance, I had the opportunity to meet Wiz Khalifa and Mac Miller before either one of them blew up. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
and what I saw after they blew up was who I talked to 6 months before they blew up.
Oh.
Like those dudes didn't change.
Yeah.
Like I remember being outside of a club, and it was right before, it was like 2 weeks before Mac Miller's album came out that debuted #1 and really skyrocketed his career.
Yeah.
uh and like he offered my buddy a job, like on the road with him. I don't know what the fuck it
Wow.
was, but like,
Yeah.
and like that's just shit like you wouldn't expect. Like, I mean, he had seen him when he came into town,
Yeah.
and things like that, but it wasn't like he really knew the dude, and he was like, yo, you need some cash, like I need some fucking help on the road, like come with me. And like
That's
he
amazing.
so it's just shit like that. Like he didn't change. Like I remember
Yeah.
Wiz Khalifa performed at the Madison Theater, and
Yeah.
I think it was right before his song Black and Yellow came out.
Okay.
And so we were backstage, and this is how real Wiz is. So I mean, yeah, he raps about some money and cars and shit, but that's what he has now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when he first started, and he used to rap about how he only smokes his weed and paper. Um, he's not lying at all. Backstage at the Madison Theater, we were all back there, and everybody was smoking. And once again, I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I invited someone, and they showed up, and they brought something wrapped in a Swisher Sweet, and he lit it up, and immediately, like, Wiz turned his head, and he's like, "Yo, who lit that bullshit?" and,
Oh my
and he
gosh.
looked over at my boy, and he was like, "You gotta go."
Really?
Yeah, he made him leave, but
Damn.
but it was crazy because when I just remember being around him that night, and the personality that I saw that night was exactly who I saw when he blew up. Like it was just
Yeah.
but Wiz Khalifa was a millionaire. Like he had already made $1 million before he ever got signed. Mac
Huh.
Miller Mac Miller had already made $1 million before he got signed.
Wow.
What's his face from Cleveland? MGK. MGK was a millionaire before P. Diddy showed up at South by Southwest and gave him a bottle of Cristal and said, "Hey, I'm about to put you on the shelf for 4 years."
Oh.
But Diddy does that to everybody though. Like
Oh.
everyone that Puff signs, he puts them on the shelf for. But also, I have heard one of my previous episodes. I had a friend on who's part of a production team with two legendary hip hop producers,
Yeah.
and he was telling me, because I brought this up to him to get his point of view, and he had told me what really happened after Puff signed MGK is that Machine Gun Kelly just started doing whatever he wanted to do, and that's why he's in a band with Travis Barker now. Like,
I didn't even know that.
but like now he's like a rock star now. Like he plays guitar and sings, and Travis Barker's playing drums,
Oh.
uh, and it's why. So the whole Travis Barker phenomenon is crazy for me because I have been a fan of the Aquabats for a very long time, and I
Yeah.
got to see the Aquabats as a teenager with Travis Barker playing drums for them, and
Dang.
then because the whole way the reason he started playing for Blink 182 is because the Aquabats were opening for Blink 182 on tour.
Okay.
Blink 182's drummer got fucking sick, whatever, who knows, maybe food poisoning, I don't know. But
Yeah.
he got sick and had to sit some shows out. uh Travis literally listened to all their songs like one time through, and then just went
And
on stage and
crushed.
played everything, and then they were like,
Yeah.
you know what, guys, this dude's pretty fucking good.
Okay, I didn't even know that he was in the Aquabats before.
Yeah, he
Because
had that,
this
like the fucking the eyewear and the cape and the fucking
dude,
the
I was a
unitard.
I was a Green Day girl. I didn't listen to any Blink 182.
So I
Green Day
listened
was
to the
like my shit.
so I listened to the first couple Blink 182 records,
Yeah.
Cheshire Cat, and then
Oh, you could name
Dear
any. You could. You can
and
say
Dude
any.
Ranch.
You can say
But see, that was
whatever words
that
I
was
wouldn't know.
well, like so Cheshire Cat was like they put that record out themselves.
Yeah.
And then Dude Ranch was after they'd gotten signed, which both records were before Travis. Travis didn't play on either one of those records.
Okay.
And then but I was Green Day all the way too, for sure. Like
Mm.
I never completely bought into Blink when it was too. I liked Cheshire Cat, but Dude Ranch definitely got it was going in that direction of punk that I didn't want it. Like I wanted my punk to be angsty. like,
Yeah.
like I
It.
wanted like I tell people all the time, like I compare hip hop and early punk rock. I kind of feel like they're one and the same because
Oh yeah.
they come from the same thing. Like fuck the man, don't tell me what to do. I'm not gonna conform. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's hip
Absolutely.
hop. Like and if you look at like the not conform thing in hip hop, like that's the whole that's your whole like your
Ooh.
hustle. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you don't give a fuck about being who they want you to be because you're gonna do whatever you need to get your money. Whereas in punk,
Yeah.
it's more along the lines of I'm not gonna conform because fuck you, that's why.
Because I'm just mad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man, I love anything like that, and I'm just a sucker for any like kind of outsider like perspective in a way. You know, like not saying that I don't know. As like a white person, I've got a lot of privilege, and I I can't really even speak to truly being like an outsider, but you know, it's just like that in music is so powerful and it can really bring about the best stuff because it automatically comes straight from the heart. It comes from a raw place, and that's like
Oh
punk
yeah.
and hip hop is like raw, you know. And
I think that's what drew so many people to it. Like you even look at
yeah.
like I do go back and I look. I was a huge Nirvana fan, huge,
Okay.
huge Nirvana fan.
I was a little
I go
baby when Nirvana was big. Or
I
I
go
don't even know if I was born yet.
I go back and I listen to those Nirvana records, and what's wild for me is that they are not that good. like
Oh my
uh
gosh.
they're
But
not
they, but
well.
like, well, what they were like, what those songs were like, was something else. It was just a big thing, you know?
Oh, it was, but like I always go back and look at it, and I tell people like this all the time. Kurt Cobain couldn't sing at all, and
Yeah.
he also did heroin. And man, I get to so many points where I don't want to throw people under the bus because I don't know if they would feel comfortable um, with me saying shit
Yeah.
about their past without their their uh, their okay. But I'll tell you after we're done recording, I'll tell you exactly who I'm talking about.
Okay.
Uh, but like I have close friends who are doing great things in music right now.
Yeah.
Um, that weren't doing so great because they couldn't stop doing drugs.
Yeah. It's a lot of
And
musicians, unfortunately.
well, and there's one guy specifically.
Yeah.
He's local and he's awesome. And yeah, I wish I could just not fucking care and just say his name, but I'm not gonna do that to my boy.
It's okay. You can say it after.
like you know what I mean? Like if you had some shit in your past, like you'd probably feel shitty if I was just like, well, you know, when this happened to Maria, you
Yeah.
know, like
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, that's sweet of you. I think
but
it's
he's clean now and he's very proud to be clean. He's got a beautiful family.
yeah.
His son's cute as fuck. Um,
No.
and big congrats for what he's doing, even though none of you guys listening to this will know who the fuck I'm talking about.
It's a big secret.
He's a great guy, and eventually he'll probably be on an episode because he and I get along pretty well.
I think okay, so this sounds like I'm the
You want to
one.
guess? You want to try to guess? I'll give you 3 guesses.
No,
You trying to guess who it is?
I don't want to guess. No, I'll guess later. Or maybe do you edit these? Can you cut it out? Can you cut it out?
I can edit it because it's just gonna be the audio.
I am
Just
not
'cause.
about to guess who's had a fucked up drug past. Because if I'm wrong, then I'm
And you're like, oh
The
yeah, I know who it
people,
was. I
the
know who it
people,
was.
the people that I guess that aren't the ones that you're talking about. It's
Have
gonna be
you
real
have
bad.
you uh have you ever played a show with the Young Heirlooms?
Yeah. Oh, I went to high school with Kelly. Did you know that?
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So I'm friends with
Yeah.
Christopher. Uh, but I didn't know him when he was a founding member of Walk the Moon, but I did know him.
What? He was a member of Walk the Moon?
Yeah,
I didn't even know that.
like he got, I believe he left the band before that debut record came out, or maybe
Oh,
shortly after the debut record came out. But he got paid a little bit of money off that,
nice.
which is nice. Good for him. Didn't know you went to high school with Kelly though. Her voice is amazing.
Oh my gosh, she's so cool. She also has an she's just like has an amazing personality. It's like just as good as
She's always been
her.
super bubbly anytime I've been around. Like, and
And she's
you know
so
how like you
funny.
can be like anybody, especially musicians, you meet so many people. So like
Yeah.
at some point, like meeting new people becomes a bit of a drag, so you don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
And but she's never like anytime I've ever been around, like it doesn't matter who is saying hi to her. It's like hi, like it's just like
Yeah.
she's on all the time.
Man, and she's like, not to keep going on about Kelly Fine, but she's just like literally every time I'm around her, not that I've been a bunch, but you know, we run in a little bit separate circles, but every time I'm around her, I'm just like, gosh, you are like the funniest human. And she's like this, like, she's just like this, like, gem, like this, like, precious gem. Like, her humor is so funny. I just want to, like, shake her and be like, you're so funny. Like, but it's like, I feel so, like, not chill around her because I just want to keep telling her how funny she is. I'm just like, you're awesome. But yeah, she's great. She's great. Yeah, a lot of people from Marymount or where we went to high school turn out to be like big musicians. Like Mara went to Marymount.
Yeah,
Well,
and she's in a band with fucking man. So first, this is more of connecting goddamn dots.
I know.
So Mora is in a band with Mike Park, and Mike Park, for anyone who isn't cool, is
Dang.
as cool as me.
Okay.
Mike Mike Park started Asian Man Records years and years and years ago. He started it in his parents' garage, and then he made enough money to buy a house, and he ran it out of his own garage, and I think he still runs it out of his own garage. He's the guy that's packing up the shirts and the records that we buy. So he was in a very huge, legendary ska band called Skank and Pickle. Then he went on to have a
I didn't even
band.
know that. I
Yeah,
didn't
because
even know that.
he can play saxophone. He's a really good saxophone player.
Dude, love me some
So,
ska.
so he was in Skank and Pickle, and then
Nice.
after they broke up, he was in a band called the Bruce Lee Band. And so at one point in time, Less Than Jake was on Asian Man Records. I think Pezcore came out on Asian Man
Huh.
Records. So there was this big
Love Less
tour.
Than Jake.
This is when I was 14 years old. So this was in 1998. There was a
Okay.
tour. It was the ska, or I might have been 13. I think it was 97 at Bogart's. Um, it was a ska against racism tour, and so it was like Les and Jake, Bruce Lee band, like pretty much everyone that was on Asian Man Records at the time, because they had some like Japanese ska bands and punk bands and shit on their label.
Yeah.
Uh, but like everyone was on this fucking, like everybody that was punk and ska in 1997, like Real Big Fish was on there.
Wow.
Uh, it was a big fucking tour, and that's when I first met Mike Park because I had been ordering shit from him. Like he had been sending shit to my house, and I
Nice.
finally got to meet him. And then later on in my life, I meet Mora because she's playing in the mixtapes with my buddy Ryan.
Yeah.
Um, and then when that band came to an end, like I just see this shit like, oh, Mora's now playing with Mike Park, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? Like, who did I not fucking hang out with for me not to be in a band with Mike Park? Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I should.
Yeah.
It should be me, not her.
You could just disguise yourself as Mora. You could just
I'd,
like wear a little wig.
I'd
Be
make a
like,
great
hi.
looking Mora.
Oh my god.
Well, props for her because that's cool. Like Mike, like anybody that's been in punk rock for a long time knows who Mike is. So
Yeah,
it would be awesome to sit around and write records with that dude.
I know.
Like
I
like
mean,
like who would you kill to make a record with right now? Like
anybody.
outside of Tyler Childers, who would
That's that's who you think is my number one. Actually, that would be pretty dope. But
Well, first off, that
um,
would be a dope ass experience because he hangs out with fucking rad people. So,
I already know the answer to this question. It would
like,
be
who would you kill to make a record with right now?
I would literally kill to make a record with her. She's just like I can't, man, I can't even watch her performances without like crying. It's just she's so inspiring to me. And her band is so tight. Like and they just follow every single, like they're just like locked in with her, and she's just got her songs are so amazing. She's so talented
Well,
and she works really hard.
you play with some really good musicians though too. Like I
Oh yeah.
know, and like and there's a lot of musicians in and around the Cincinnati area. So a lot of the band, like any other bands, and I don't like people that don't play in bands or don't play music won't understand it. That lineups consistently change
Yeah.
all the time, like especially with bands that actually do work. Like when you're touring, like that's
Yeah.
grueling. People have families, people have jobs they have to get back to, blah blah blah, this or that. So lineups consistently are changing.
Yeah.
um but you play with some good fucking musicians.
Oh yeah, I really love like getting that experience to be able to. I mean, it's kind of cheesy, but it's like something that is important to me to surround myself with people that I'm like the worst in the group. And I'm not bad at guitar, but it's, like I want to always be inspired by the people that I'm surrounding myself with and be like, wow, how are you making that sound? I love when you get that when you get that feeling from the people that are there to play your music. Like that's really cool.
I remember one of the first time, like how I got into my first band. I was like 14 or 15, and
Yeah.
I had taught myself guitar. I've never had a single music lesson. I don't
Yeah.
know, like I can loosely read music. I taught myself trumpet. Um,
Nice.
but like I was never formally taught anything, and I was at a party one night and I was just playing, and uh there was probably 10 to 12 people. My buddy's parents were out of town, so of course naturally we had a fire out behind his house and we were all sitting around smoking weed, because that's what 14 and 15-year-olds do. And like instead of playing like Pokemon Go, we're smoking weed and playing music.
Oh
And
yeah.
but I remember we were like passing the guitar around, like everybody got to play something, and it got around to me, and I was just it wasn't a cover. I was just jamming. I was just playing chords that I knew. I think at the time I knew like 4 chords, so it was working out really well for me. And but I was just playing, and my friend Rusty. Do you remember a band called Crybaby? Did you ever get to see a band called Crybaby around town?
Mm-mm.
Uh, I don't think he played. So, well, you know Matt. I mean, did you ever meet Matt? Matt Ayers, he lead singer like Death in Graceland, which was years ago.
Oh no, I don't know if I know him. Is he a
But
Cincy guy?
yeah.
Okay.
Uh, but those Matt was my drummer, and Rusty ended up being the guitar player. Um, at first, like I'll rewind. At this party, I'm playing guitar, and Rusty looks at me, and everyone knows Rusty as like this dude is a phenomenal fucking guitar player. He knows so much music theory that he probably holds himself back from experimenting because he'll just be like immediately like, oh, that won't work because of this and that and the ninth, you know.
Yeah,
And,
the ninth.
uh, I had to throw some kind of music theory joke in there.
Like,
and
think of a number. Think of a number.
but like they after I was playing, Rusty looked at me, who knows music theory really well, and just goes, dude, like, how long have you been playing? And I was like, not very long, dude. I don't really think I'm that good. And he was like, oh, you're not, but you have rhythm. You have really, really good rhythm. Like, you didn't break time over like the 6 measures that you played. You didn't break time once. And I'm like, how
Nice.
do you even, you're not a metronome. How the fuck do you know? And he was like, I know. And I was like,
Ooh.
wow. But
Yeah.
so when I got into that band, he was like, you want to, like, do you want to play in a band? And I was like, fuck yeah. And he was like, sweet, I just bought this new bass, and like, you can play guitar. And like, I go to the first practice, and do you know the song Moron Bros by NoFX?
Oh no, I don't.
We are the Moron Brothers, don't get along with others. So you
Sure.
check it out. It's really fucking fast. There's some like badass like rock and roll fucking like lead solos and shit in that. So
Yeah.
I go to the
Nice.
practice, and Rusty was like, yeah. So it starts out like this, and we're playing, and then like and we get to the part where these insane fucking guitar solos are, and he just rips it out like wow, wow, wow. And then
Nice.
and I was like, yeah, I can't do that, dude. Like, I'm not like,
That must have
maybe
been
I
kind of
should play that
intimidating.
bass. Well, I'm glad that I got to play with him, because I learned more about music playing with him than I've learned from
Yeah,
anybody. And
that's
like,
awesome.
there were songs that I wrote for the band, and so like, I never knew what like suspended notes were. I didn't know that they had a name for that. I didn't know that was a fucking thing. And then
Yeah.
like, I had one song, and there were a couple fucking parts where I had some suspended notes happening, and
Yeah.
he was like, bro, suspended fifth over the seventh? My God. And I was like, I don't know what the fuck you just said to me. I don't know what any of that means, dude. No
Yeah.
fucking clue, dude. No
But
idea.
you know the sound, and that's important. You know, it's like I feel like when you learn theory, you're putting names and descriptions to things you already know in your heart. Oh God, that was
Yeah.
really
Well,
cheesy.
like,
But you know what I mean? It's
do
like
you
you're like,
feel like the people that are like, I prefer my musicians to be more experienced than more educated, because I feel like
yeah,
you just
absolutely.
like, you totally cut yourself off. Like, you're allowed to fuck up, and sometimes in those fuck ups you find something that could spark something amazing.
Oh yeah, and a lot of experience is only gonna make you better. A lot of theory like can't make a musician like feel the music, but experience can. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
music theory is not going to allow you to play your instrument better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll understand it more, but experience is like the cool. I don't know. I think a good like taste of both is healthy. I
Oh
I'd
yeah.
love I'd love to learn more. I'm like you. I'm self-taught, and I don't know much theory, but I know the sounds.
Did you ever have vocal lessons or anything?
Oh, no. Did not.
Well, and the only reason I ask is, like, when you perform, like, even so, like, when I saw you for the first time at Sean's,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, your voice is, it's big and it's thick and it's full.
Wow, thank
Like,
you.
you know how, like, you're welcome. You know how, like, when people are just hanging out and like singing along to a song or whatever,
Yeah.
and like, typically their voice, like, it's just thin, and like, it's not and you've been in the
Yeah.
studio a bunch. Like, there's
Yeah.
sometimes like there's times where I've been in the studio like rapping on a song, and like, I do the one track, just the initial track, and I go, wow, that's rough. like,
It's
like,
always
wow.
rough. The
But then
studio
like
always just makes me want to like quit music. I'm just like, what the fuck?
but
Is
like,
that
you
how
just
I sound?
have like, there's just people like, for instance, like uh Arlo McKinley. Tim.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I hear Tim sing, like when Tim and Jeremy Pinnell were in the Great Depression together.
Yeah.
Like I mean, Jeremy's voice was definitely predominant on a lot of those Great Depression songs,
Yeah.
but like Tim's voice, like just filled the whole fucking song. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but like that's like you just have those people that can like, it just hits different.
Yeah.
You know, like it just
Yeah.
hits different.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, I love those voices, and
Like you could
I
like you captivated 30 people
yeah.
just
Oh.
playing a guitar and singing. And whereas a lot of people, like, I mean, how many open mics have you been to and you're just like, they're good, but like they're just missing something. They're just
Huh.
missing something.
That's so sweet. I mean, I even say that because it's like sometimes I don't know. So you go through waves of of feeling good and bad and about your stuff, and yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. But
Absolutely.
I love performing. I really like mostly just like the connection of it all, because I think sometimes it's can get kind of intimidating, like the I struggle with anxiety and some pretty in kind of a bad way, but so
You've
I
been
think
open about that on your social media platforms as
yeah,
well. Not super in
yeah,
depth, but more along the lines of like, hey, it's okay to not be okay. And I'm just
yeah.
trying. I'm just
Well, that's
trying.
literally like most of us aren't okay, and that's okay. But I just I just feel like it's an instance where I can connect with people where I don't have to like question it. It just like feels so good to sing, and the fact that other people like motivated by it is just amazing to me. Because I it's really like, I mean, it's like something that I love doing, just sitting here at the kitchen table, or but it's even if just one
What's like
person's sitting
on
there
your
across the table.
Instagram even? Like even on your Instagram,
Yeah.
you sit around with your sister that you hang out with all the time
Yeah.
and friends
Yeah.
and you guys like you're just hanging out playing music. And it's not always you playing music either.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's other people as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. I love that connection. You know what I mean? Like it's the same thing with even just like talking with other people, like this podcaster, just like the being able to like vibe off each other and get really excited about something, or like get really like bummed about something together, or like just the fact that your feelings are linking up is so cool to me. I mean, that
Oh
sounds
yeah.
so like like stoner, but it's just like, and then that's what like music like the like you watching Dave Matthews, like everybody in the crowd is like going insane that that person just took that solo, and you all feel it at the same time.
Yeah.
And that guy feels it, and he's like being charged with all these people. So it's like a high, for sure. Like every time I play a show, the next like 3 days or 2 days, it's like it's like a high. Like I feel
Oh
really
yeah.
like laughy and happy and funny and like cool like afterward, because I'm like, you just get charged up by all those people.
So you've gotten to play a lot of like you've been playing or you've played like a handful of different festivals and things.
Yeah.
And at a lot of these festivals, sometimes there can be some big artists. Uh, who who have you personally met that kind of like you were just like, wow.
Oh my gosh, that's a really good question. Oh, I wish I had like, wait, let me think for a second.
Because here's the thing, I can tell you who I met that made me go, wow. Like I didn't know what to say. And then
Yeah.
I can also tell you
Be-
who I met before they got to a point where most people would be like, wow, but he was really cool.
Wait, like is it like is it wow like you're fanboying, or
It
is it
wasn't. It
like
wasn't really. It wasn't really like fanboy. It was just like, wow, you're really fucking famous, and there's nothing that we have. Like, I don't feel like we probably could sit down and have a great conversation, but just because I know how famous you are, I don't think that we have anything in common, which we probably do.
I don't think I don't know if I've met anyone that, well, no, I've opened some cool shows, but it's like the shows of the people that I've opened that are like huge. You just don't see, like you don't really see them.
You don't run into them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe you see them for a second, but it's literally a second because they're just torn away, you know? So it's
So I
not
met
like,
the guy that had me speechless, and it wasn't fanboy speechless. It was just like, I don't think I don't really know that we'd have a lot to discuss.
yeah.
Rick Ross, I met him, and I was like, hi. And
And
he's
what
like,
did he do? What did he do?
he threw me a what up my N word, and I said
Uh,
back at you.
and then that was that.
And then I was told, hey, why are you backstage? And I was like, my friend that's performing, he gave me a pass and said I could be back here, and he was like, it's too full, you gotta go. And I was like, all right, I don't think I can talk to anybody back here now.
That's so cool though that you got that
But
experience.
that, and then what was weird, I had met Tyler Childers once, and
Oh
only
yeah.
once, but it was like when people only knew him that went to Whispering Beard Festival,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not people that watch CMT.
Oh yeah.
So, like
He's really sweet.
I think that if I wouldn't have met him beforehand and like met him now, I would just be
Oh.
like, there's no way that we would have anything to talk about. Like, you're on another level.
Yeah.
Everybody wants you.
Yeah, it would be hard. I mean, even
Like, you're doing a fucking whole tour with Sturgill Simpson. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what? That's actually, yeah, I freaking love Sturgill Simpson.
so like that, like if I met Tyler now, it would be like, fuck, dude, like you're famous as fuck. Like you don't even know regular people problems. But
Yeah.
which actually he probably knows regular people problems more than anybody.
Well, you know, the other like weird thing, or something that kind of where my brain went with this, because I think about this a lot with this band in particular, the one I'm about to talk about. So the Folk School Coffee Parlor, where, you know, I used to barista there, and a
That
lot of
place
different.
means a lot to you.
It does. But they had a show, and it was, have you ever heard of Susto? The
Yeah.
band Susto? Oh
Yeah.
my God. I love Susto so much. But here's the thing, I didn't at one point. I didn't know them at all. And during that point when I didn't know them at all, they came through, and I met, like, I think his name's Justin or something. And I met him, and we like talked because we had mutual friends in Nashville. And I was like, oh, and Justin had actually come and seen me sing in someone's like basement. Like, we were doing this like recording thing, and it was like a buddy of a buddy. And so it was like all this, like, I didn't know this guy, but he, like, we've had these like run-ins in the past. And then he was at Folk School, which is this teeny venue. And they had, like, I saw the first few shows, and then I had a show to get to that night myself, so I couldn't stay for the whole thing, but we talked a little then. And then since then, dude, Patrick, I have listened, like, since then, they have become like one of my top favorite bands in the whole wide world. And because I just started listening, for some reason, I was like, I guess I'll like listen to some Susto. And like, I am obsessed. And now if I met him, I do not know what I would say. Because I was like, I was totally chill before. I was like, oh yeah, you're a musician, I'm a musician. Like, it's fine. Like, whatever. Ah, shit, my phone's about to die. But like now, like, because I actually did go to a show of his recently. It was his first show back with the full band since COVID. He came to the Southgate House, and they had our socially distanced show. It was awesome. And I was like watching, and I was like, it was literally, I was like back like a little girl again, like watching my first like punk show or something. I was just like, I was like, oh my gosh, it was amazing. And then like I kept thinking and thinking about what I was gonna say to him when I like met him at because Southgate House is pretty small. But dude, they didn't come out probably because of COVID. They didn't do any selling of merch or anything, but I was like kind of grateful because I like keeping those like now it's like those instances where he and I have just chatted as just normal two people are just that is just that in my brain. You know, it's not like me being nervous because I would be so nervous to be around him right now because I've listened to like, you know how you listen to like an album so much you just know every little teeny inflection of the voice and like I don't know. I could just, as you can tell, I could go on and on about Susto, but I just am like, I think that would be a good answer to your question. That would be one person that I like would totally fangirl, like just because of the music. It's just so good. Like I think he's one of the best songwriters in the world.
There was this guy I got to serve at the airport. I served him some whiskey. He sat down, he was carrying a guitar, and he leaned his guitar like up against a barrel. So growing up with a little bit of punk background yourself, do you remember anyone that had like the band Dokken? Like a Dokken patch on their jean jacket, Dokken. It's like an old fucking like rock band, right?
Okay.
So I knew who they were. I had a lot of friends that were kind of into them. I used to think it was pronounced Dokken. Like I didn't know it was Dokken.
Yeah.
But over the years, I was corrected that it was Dokken. So this guy sits down, leans his guitar up against the bar, and right up on top of the guitar case, there's a fucking Dokken sticker. And so immediately I was like I know the band Dokken. I know what Don Dokken looks like. And this was Don Dokken sitting at my bar. and like a lot of there's like a lot of straight edge like metal heads that were into Dokken. Cause like that was like before like metal really kind of took over, right? So like I had Don Dokken sitting at my bar, and I was like,
dang.
And I wasn't taken back or like speechless or anything, but I was like, man, I'm gonna fuck with him a little bit. And I was like, guitar, huh? You play a little bit? And he was like, yeah, I play. And he's got like a raspy ass, like deep, heavy voice. And he was like, yeah, I play. And I was like, nice. Like, what do you got in there, man? And he pulled this. It's like one of 5 of this particular Fender that was ever made or some shit. And I was like, shit, man. Well, he told me I knew that there weren't many of this particular guitar made. And when he said what it was and the model number, I was like, oh, there's not many of those made. That's nice, dude. Nice. And he was like, yeah, you play it all? And I was like, a little bit. I've gotten into a little like hip hop production and like different things, different avenues. And I was like, you in a band? And he was like, yeah, I'm in a band, Dokken. I'm Don Dokken. And I was like, no shit.
Oh my god.
And me knowing who he was the whole time. And then I was like, did you have a show around here? And he was like, yeah, last night we had this show at like this like haunted like amusement park kind of fucking thing. I was like, Land of Illusion. Yeah. and
No.
and he was like,
they had shows there.
Yeah, I guess at some point, like, because they had like it was like a remember the late 70s fucking rock band kind of show. But they had him, and he said somebody else played. I can't remember who he said played with him. But so that Land of Illusion place is real close to like where the Renaissance Fair happens.
Yeah.
So he was, and this is 70s rock star for you. So he's sitting at my bar. Keep in mind, my bar is like a kiosk bar. Like it's in the concourse A at the airport. So it's just out in the open, right? So anybody can walk up at any given time. And
Yeah.
so he's sitting here and he's telling me about. He's like, man, we went back to the hotel, and he was like, would you believe it? Right next to where we were playing, they're having this Renaissance festival thing, right? And I was like, it's kind of a big deal around here, Don. um, and he was like, it was just crazy. Like we were all drunk, and these girls that were dressed like winches at this Renaissance thing, like their boobs are all pressed up. And so I got this dude who's well into his fucking 60s talking about these like 20-year-old girls dressed up as winches at a fucking Renaissance festival. Meanwhile, there's like this dad who's in his 40s with his son that's like fucking 12, standing there like the dad's looking at bottles and the son's like, why is this old man talking about boobies? And then like I'm sitting there as a bartender like, fuck it, it's a bar. Like that dude knew that this was a bar. He brought his kid to the bar. Like what am I
Yeah.
supposed, I'm not gonna
It's
stop Don Dawkins from talking about winches.
that is hilarious. I
But it was
love
cool.
that.
Like Don was cool. He tipped well. So and then
Hell yeah, Don.
sadly I found out. I think it was late last year. I remember seeing an article where he's got some shit going on with his throat and had to cancel a bunch of shows and can't really. He may not be able to sing again because of whatever's happening.
Damn.
But so it was
Rip.
cool to meet Don while he could still talk.
That's awesome. I had to take you off of my headphones because my phone is about to die.
Oh, you're good.
Sorry.
You're good.
Should
Well,
I
you're
plug them back in?
no, you're fine. I mean, your next iPhone's not even going to come with a charger, so like fuck it, right?
Right? I feel like that's how they're going. Oh, you want a charger? That'll be another $120.
Like they literally Apple isn't sending chargers out with the next model, like the 12 or whatever it'll be.
I mean, it's
They're
kind
not
of brilliant.
they're not sending chargers because, well, and here's the thing, it's not that they want you to, well, of course they want you to buy another one, but a big part of what they're doing is they're like, we literally expect you to just have one from your last phone or your last 75 iPhones.
Oh. And one that fits the charging port that it has.
Right.
Wait, so I unfortunately am a little pumpkin and I have to. This actually is one of the terrible parts of this job is I have to get up at like 5:30 in the morning.
Ouch.
I know, right?
See, at least
It's
I scheduled to do this podcast when I'm off the next day. Jeez.
I know. Well, think about it. It's like going from a musician schedule, which is like literally third shift. Like you get home, like I'd be walking home with my guitar at like 3 in the morning, and that was just like a normal night. And
Yeah.
now I'm like getting up at like the time when I would be going to bed. It's crazy.
It's different. It's different.
It's
Which
different.
I hope to have Jake on to talk about that too, because like
Yeah.
he's out there busting his ass laying fucking concrete. And I follow him on Instagram.
Yeah.
The dude can fucking put some concrete down. Like he's pretty goddamn good at it.
That's awesome.
I'd still rather see him on stage playing a banjo or mandolin or some shit, but whatever.
Wait, it's Jake Orvis? This is Jake Orvis?
Yeah. He
Okay.
yeah, he does like banjo and some mandolin shit for the goddamn gallows. So
Yeah.
the first time, so the first time. So here's what's funny. So my son's name is Oscar.
Yeah.
And when it was funny because when my wife was pregnant with Oscar, I remember people saying like, so like I was going in a lot of doctors' offices for my job at the time, and I got to know a lot of these people, and so a lot of them knew that we were expecting a child, and they were,
Yeah.
oh, did you pick a name? Did you pick a name? And I was like, yeah, we went with Oscar. Like it just fucking it's like naming an album. It sounded
I
cool. It sounded cool.
I love that name for a little kid.
So we named him
Oscar.
Oscar, and it was funny because someone, when they had asked me if we picked a name, I was like, "Yeah, we picked Oscar," and they were like,
My phone's yelling
"You
at
mean
me.
like the Grinch?" Or and I was like,
The
uh,
Grinch.
and I was like, "No," and they were like, "Oh, wait, you mean like Sesame Street, Oscar, the Grouch?" And I was like, "Yeah, the Grouch," and they were like, they're like, "Yeah, so you named him after that?" And I was like, "Nope."
But I think he's my favorite Sesame Street character.
He's the most real. He's hands down the most real character.
Yeah, that's so
Like,
true.
motherfucker, I live in a goddamn trash can.
He's just trash. He's trash. He's like us. He's just
Scram.
a puppet version of us. Just really speaks to my soul. Scram! I literally saw this mug one time in TJ Maxx. I was like, I literally need this.
That's a good
This
mug.
is, I know. You got to get it for Oscar.
Well, I want to thank you for being on. This was a good episode.
Thank you, Patrick. This has been amazing.
I have finally not forgotten to hit record, so that's awesome.
Yes. I'm
We're
so proud of you.
I'm really growing up. Well, actually,
Yeah.
before we started this episode, my wife was walking out of the room, and like I've told her obviously that I fucked up, and as she was walking out of the room, she said, "Don't forget to press record."
Oh,
I was like, "I'll fucking try not to." If you put out a record anytime soon, I'll definitely share it on the podcast social medias for sure.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, dude, thanks for giving me something to look forward to this week.
Absolutely. On a Monday of all days.
Yeah.
Like, this is fun
Starting
shit to
the week off right.
Well, thank you again. And you have a wonderful day at work at 5:30 in the morning.
Thank you. I'll see you, Patrick.
See ya.
Bye.